The Democratic primaries are really weird so far. Okay, the caucus and the primary. We're through two states, but so far it's been very, very strange. And I'm not the only one who noticed. Mr. Van Jones of CNN said basically the same thing. People are depressed by primary process, just want somebody to vote for against Trump. The problem is no one can decide on who the right person is, but I'm going to make a prediction. See, I was reading about them. They're super delegates. You know what the super delegates are? They changed the rules so that super delegates can't vote in the first round. And I could be getting this wrong, so take it with a grain of salt. It's my cursory glance. Here's my prediction. We're going to have a very, very close race. It's going to be a contested convention. When all the primaries are done, no one's going to know exactly who's going to win. It's going to be so close that in the first round, everyone's unsure until the super delegates step in round two and throw their weight behind the moderate. That's the plan, I think. They're not going to let Bernie Sanders win. And as much as I can criticize Sanders and a lot of his policies, there's an interesting phenomenon you'll notice when it comes to, say, like Tucker Carlson or people like me. We're not in agreement over his policy positions or, for me, how he's changed them. But we can all agree, hey, if the people vote for him, that's what the people wanted to vote for. I mean, I think most people, expect Sanders to lose except for his own supporters. And I'm not just saying conservatives. I'm saying literally the Democrats voting for Buttigieg, Klobuchar, Bloomberg, or Biden are worried Bernie will lose and Americans will not elect a socialist. But a new poll suggests that's not true. Democrats absolutely will vote for a socialist. But this says something different to what I think they think it means. They think it shows the country is ready for socialism. I think it shows that the party has excised the moderates and independent voters don't have anything to do with them. So I'll put it this way. If you have 100 people and 50 of them are pro-socialist and 50 of them are not, are anti, and then the anti-socialist people leave, guess what? You will have 50 or 100% of your party now being in favor of socialism. And the percentage makes people really excited, but in reality, you lost tons of support. We'll see. First, let's read why the Democrats are just so depressed. From Van Jones, The Hill reports. CNN analyst Van Jones on Tuesday said he thinks that Democratic voters are depressed and sad over the Democratic primary process, saying that it is a very messy, confusing choice, and Democrats just want somebody to vote for against Trump. I think people are depressed, Jones said, while discussing the large split of Democratic votes. I think people are sad. I think people can't figure out which of the people they're supposed to vote for, and people are waiting to come out and vote against Trump. This is a messy, confusing choice. The former Obama advisor continued. People are sad and depressed, and people just want someone to vote for against Trump. How many times are you going to say it? Jones' comments come following Bernie Sanders winning a tight New Hampshire primary, finishing just ahead of Pete Buttigieg. It was also a night where top-tier candidates Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden struggled, finishing fourth and fifth. Seeing Biden flop, by the way, was hilarious. Jones also called Sanders a phenomenon, but noted the media talks about everybody but Bernie for whatever reason. Bernie Sanders is a phenomenon, he said. He doesn't get attention. People don't talk about him. He's doing stuff we don't talk about. He appeals to young people, people of color. He's got an army of donors, Jones continued. If anybody else had all that, we'd say this guy is our guy, but for whatever reason, we talk about everybody but Bernie. Let me explain to you why we talk about everybody but Bernie. First of all, the media is biased against Bernie Sanders, and they are active participants in this election process. That is a big no-no. Okay, lying about Bernie Sanders and the weird smears against him, omitting him from results and trying to downplay him. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. Okay, we get the game you're playing, but it's also so the reason why, in fairness, people don't talk about him as a strong contender is because. You ready for this? Bernie Sanders is a 78-year-old socialist who just had a heart attack. I'm not trying to be mean to him over this, as I've stated many times before, but I think this plays a serious role in whether or not people would actually vote for him. And I think the answer is no. Now, of course, you're telling me, but Tim, he's winning the primary. The primary is not a general election. Independent voters are not there. It is the Democratic Party. And though people are claiming Bernie Sanders can bring out the youth, he's not. The youth isn't coming out to vote in the primary, not even for him. You think they'll come out in the general? Nah. If they can't get behind the guy who needs support now to stop Buttigieg, where it really matters, why would he beat Trump? Maybe there's a difference between Buttigieg and Sanders. Maybe all anyone really cares about is give me a Democrat and I'll press the D button. No more Trump, they say. But here's the bad news. Bernie Sanders is now the clear Democratic presidential frontrunner, but he could be stopped in his tracks if the party's moderates unite behind a single candidate, which is very, very likely to happen. Now, for whatever reason, 538 is claiming Bernie is the favorite to win in their forecast model. I think what that omits, however, is second round voting. I think what it omits is that get rid of the other moderate candidates and just put in Buttigieg and he beats Bernie Sanders. That's it. The moderate vote is bigger than the progressive vote, which brings me to the next bad bit of information being touted by Sanders supporters and the far left to act like they're the ones who should win. 76% of Democrats say they'd vote for a socialist for president, new poll shows. Let me break this down for you. A lot of the moderate voters absolutely will get behind Bernie Sanders because they really want to stop Trump. However, a lot of those voters, probably 24%, or actually it's more than that because that's all Democrats, probably a large portion of moderates would not get behind Sanders because they wouldn't vote for a socialist. So who will they vote for if it's Bernie Sanders? This is not a good statistic, dudes. Let's look at this story. Just over 3/4 of Democratic voters said they would vote to elect a socialist president, according to a poll released by Gallup on Tuesday. The poll conducted between January, blah, blah, blah. They say between now and 2020 political conventions, there will be a discussion about the qualifications of presidential candidates, their education, age, religion, race, and so on. Read the poll question. If your party nominated a generally well-qualified person for president who happened to be blank, would you vote for that person? When it came to candidates who were socialists, Democrats were most likely to answer that they would vote for them. 76% of Democrats said they would back a socialist candidate, compare with 17% of Republicans and 45% of independents. And there's the real statistic. Let me break down the horrifying news for Bernie supporters. Actually, for Democrats in general. Bernie Sanders, only 53% of his supporters will get behind the eventual nominee if it is not Bernie Sanders. Although around 30 said it depends. They probably won't get behind Biden, Buttigieg, or Klobuchar. Then you have the other problem. 24% of Democrats won't vote socialist, which means if it is Bernie, the Democrats lose 24% of their actual hard base voters. I'm not talking about swing voters or independents. I'm talking about their actual party. So what do you think is going to happen? This shows us that, well, the Democrats have real reason to be depressed. Van Jones said it 50 times. Yeah, they just want someone to vote against Trump, but it's not going to happen because everybody has a hard line. These never Trumpers. You know, they said Trump was the worst thing in the world. They're not going to vote socialist. Some of them have claimed, I would. No, you won't. Maybe they will. I don't know. But it's so ridiculous to think you would jump from being center right all the way to socialist because you don't like Trump's demeanor, please. They're exaggerating about everything wrong with the president, to be honest. It's not like Trump is perfect. But seriously, they're screeching about the fact that he had a phone call with Ukraine. They say, oh, impeach him. Didn't accuse him of any crimes. Yeah, okay, dude. Y'all are freaking out. No. I think it's funny when I can't remember, it was a Bill Kristol or something. He said, we're all Democrats today. Not me. Are you nuts? These people get offended like they feel that words are not safe. Not all of them, but too many of them. There are a lot of great Bernie supporters, mind you. Like, I think there's really great people that are clearly in support of Bernie Sanders. I think Kyle Kalinske is a cool dude. I don't want to say they are or aren't Bernie supporters because there's probably nuance in their political opinions. But I think it appears as though people like Crystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske are Bernie supporters, and Jimmy Dore, for instance. And I think they're all fantastic and wonderful people. So I say these things with all due respect. I do not believe y'all are correct. I think what we're looking at, 76% of Democrats would vote for a socialist. What that says to me is that a decent amount of Democrats would be willing to accept. They would take it over Trump. That I understand. I do. I don't think all 76 are enthusiastically socialist. I think a very small portion are, but they would take it if that's what they got. But that means 24% of your base wouldn't do it. And those are your core votes. 45% of independents say they would, which means the majority of independents won't do it either. You are going to lose significant portions of your voter base if you go this route. I don't know how to tell you, but I think you should do what you think you need to do. Hey, Trump supporters should be happy about it, right? If you think you're right and I'm wrong, with all due respect, then go do it. Go vote for Sanders. And I seriously do mean it. I want you to vote for who you think is the right choice. We may disagree. You know what? I respect your disagreement, but I think you're going to lose. And I think Trump supporters are also defending Bernie Sanders as the media smears him because they know Donald Trump will absolutely wipe the floor with Bernie. Sanders supporters disagree. Well, therein lies the big strategic difference. Can Bernie do it or not? In my opinion, no. I honestly don't think any of them can do it. I think it's the B tier. Now, Bernie Sanders, there's something special about him for sure, but his age, his heart attack, there's a lot of things wrong with him as a candidate. You know, I don't think he's going to manage to win. But the Bernie supporters are convinced only Bernie can win. I guess we'll see. Now, I don't think the Democratic establishment will allow Bernie Sanders to actually win, so maybe it won't even matter. But if that's the case, then I guess I'll see y'all rioting in the streets in Milwaukee come the DNC, huh? Don't do that, please. But hey, you know they're going to, right? Anyway, I'll wrap it up there. I hope y'all are feeling better, Democrats. I guess actually, I think the ones who are really depressed are like the moderates, to be honest. I think the Bernie Sanders supporters are fired up because he's winning that popular vote. They won't feel that way come the DNC. I think Nevada is going to be pure chaos. Seriously, Google search Nevada 2016 Democratic Caucus. Woo! That was nuts. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.